In this daily drop, I'm going to announce the winners of the June 2024 photo challenge, courtesy of B&H Photo Video, and also announce what the July 2024 photo challenge is going to be. So let's go. All right, everybody, here we are wrapping up the week. A couple of live streams this week, both the weekly one and Camera and Flask, and 5 episodes of the Daily Drop. So lots of content dropping this week on the channel. And it is time now to announce the winners of the June 2024 photo challenge. Now, I'm going to go through what the challenge was and who the winners are, and then get into July's contest, which will go from today, July 12th, all the way through the end of the month, July 31st. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so here we go. First of all, these are our reference frames. This is a movie called Last Summer, and this movie right here is called Call Me By Your Name. These are both relatively recent movies in the last 10 years or so, and I just liked both of these frames, pulled these from Shot Deck. And as you can see, there are some similarities between them in terms of framing and composition, though they are not identical. So what we're going to do is go through what the prizes are and then who the winners are. So the first prize for the challenge is this Rugged electronic dry cabinet. I have a few of these. It's great when it gets really humid. You can control the humidity of the actual cabinet itself, and it keeps things like lenses and camera equipment the way it should be. The second prize is this rolling C-stand case from Impact, and this is very handy. It can fit about 3 C-stands in there, and it's a great piece of kit to have. And then the third prize is 2 of these heavy-duty air-cushioned light stands from Impact. So those are the prizes that people are going to win. And let's go ahead and jump into the submissions. We didn't have as many submissions as I would like this month, but here we go. Okay, so from Brandon Petrie and Britt, sort of like a double submission from them. It says, sorry for the late submission due to us leaving for our trip later than expected. It was only a day late, and I let it slide for a couple of reasons, and one you'll see when we talk about the July challenge or contest and why that is. Location is in an abandoned gas station in Winslow, Arizona, which is home to Meteor Crater, or Meteor City, which inspired the movie by Wes Anderson called Asteroid City. It was difficult to find a frame from the movie that would be easily reproducible since we were only driving through on our way to Oklahoma. We found this gas station service window, which reminded me, this is Brandon, of the dialogue scene between Augie and Midge. So the one thing I'll say here when we start to look at these reference frames and sort of the location is it's not quite, in my opinion, completely inspired by the reference frames that I showed you at the beginning from Last Summer and Call Me By Your Name, but there was stuff in there, and you'll see. Okay, so these are our 2 reference frames from Asteroid City. So you'll see here, frame right, frame left, very Wes Anderson, and these are the frames that were created. There's Brittany, and here is Brandon, and I think that they did a very good job in terms of, great job in terms of being inspired by the frames that they chose. I'll emphasize they chose, but there's still a little bit of a summer vibe here and things like that, and we'll get back to these frames a little bit later. What that means is they win third prize, the Impact heavy-duty air-cushioned light stands, a pair of those. Okay, so let's get into the second one here. This is from Daniel Murphy. And Daniel says, shot with a Canon 60 with a 24 millimeter at around a shutter speed of 100th of a second at ISO 100 and a range between f5 and f9 as he recalls. I thought about what would make a great summer photo and immediately thought of the basketball court down the street from where I live. There's always a game going on there during the golden hour, no matter how hot it is. I asked the young players if I could take their photos, and they kindly obliged. In the edits, I wanted to capture the vintage film look as shown in the shot deck sample, so I went for high contrast with slightly lifted blacks. The color is shifted to combine a bit of warmth with a slight green. In the midtones, I added a bit of grain and cropped to a 2:3:9 aspect ratio to give it a CinemaScope film touch. All right, let's go ahead and check out these frames from Daniel Murphy. Here's the first one. Cool. Second one. Very nice. And then the third one, which probably compositionally, you could say this one, but probably compositionally, this is more inspired than the other two. So very, very cool. Definitely has that vibe there. So that means that Daniel Murphy wins the second prize, which is the rolling C-stand case from Impact. I have a couple of these. They are very handy to have inside of the kit. And then now we go to Charlie Clark. Charlie says, I'm Charlie and I work as a professional photographer in the Army, currently stationed at Wheeler Army Airfield in Oahu, Hawaii. Here's a photo I snagged today, June 28th, during a Rappel Master Final Exam at the Lightning Academy here on Oahu. That's a mouthful. I love your channel and everything you're putting out. Please keep it up! Exclamation point. I will do that for sure, Charlie. P.S. If you're ever on Oahu and want to check out the helicopters here, just hit me up and I'll get you on the airfield. Specialist Charlie Clark, 25th Combat Aviation Brigade. Awesome, and thank you for your service. And here we are with Charlie's image. Just one submission. Really love this. Obviously, aspect ratio looks to be a 3:2 aspect ratio, and the vibe is for sure there. Composition is for sure there. And one of the things that I love is how much is going on right now in the foreground with our subject matter in terms of all of that detail in the visor, everything that's happening on the helmet, and especially for me, that left eye and seeing that left eye in the shot, I just think is an awesome, awesome photo. And that means that Charlie wins first prize for the June 2024 photo challenge, courtesy of B&H, and is getting the Rugged electronic dry cabinet. And I think these things are awesome. Again, I have a few of them, and they are very handy in terms of control. I'm in Oregon. It gets very humid here in the winter, so being able to control that humidity with my equipment is very important. And there you go. Now, most importantly, for all three winners, you need to send your name, address, and phone number to challenge@thec47.com. I need that information so I can send it to B&H. They will then send out individually to U.S. residents who live here in the United States, or U.S. addresses at least, these three prizes, the first, second, and third prizes, and make sure you do that. Okay, let's go ahead and now jump into the July 2024 challenge. And so we go back to, believe it or not, Brandon and Britt's reference images here from Asteroid City. These two images are the inspiration images that you are going to use for the July challenge. Now, Brandon and Britt, they can still use these images as inspiration, but they cannot submit those same photographs. They're using them to inspire what their photos are going to be for the July challenge. So I do expect if they do submissions, which I hope they do, that they are completely different than the images that they submitted for the June challenge. And I think we'll get some great stuff. The key here is that everybody submits a lot of content, meaning I want a lot of people to be a part of this. Okay, so here are the prizes. The third prize is this Array microphone isolation chamber. I think these things are fantastic. You pair this with something like the RØDE NT USB Plus, and it's a great match for stuff like voiceover work. It's a relatively simple piece of gear, but I think it's great. I use it. It's here attached to my desk all of the time. The second prize are these Impact Auto Poles. These are pressure poles that you use from floor to ceiling, and I can't tell you how useful they are, especially when you're trying to clamp things like super or Mayfer clamps and stuff like that. Cardellini clamps off of them, and the footprint is very, very small because it's not like a regular tripod. So I think these are fantastic. The thing that's great is I get to choose what these prizes are. So I get to go through all of these products and decide. And the number one prize, the first prize, is going to be this Impact Nested Apple Box set, a 4-in-1. These are handy. I have one myself. Really easy to just throw in the car. You get a full, you get a half, you get a quarter, you get a pancake. And, you know, the only thing to realize about these is that they are nested. So your full is going to be full size. The nested Apple boxes are slightly smaller in terms of their width and their length, just ever so slightly, but it's so handy to have a kit like this inside of your vehicle when you are going out on jobs. In fact, sometimes I forget to bring it, and it's a shame I do. All right, so here's the deal. You are going to submit your photos that are inspired by those 2 images from Asteroid City, and you are going to submit them anytime between now, July 12th, and the end of the month, July 31st, and you will send it to challenge@thec47.com. Super excited to see what you come up with. I hope we get more submissions this month. It really is much more exciting to get, you know, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20 submissions for these challenges so I can go through them and then pick what I think based on the reference or inspired images are who are going to be the winners. Does that even make sense? It does. You guys get the idea. All right, here we go. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.